Welcome, my amazing friends. Today I bring you a story that will touch your heart, inspire your soul, and teach you powerful lessons about life, success, and never giving up. This is the story of a man who was not just an actor, not just a comedian. He was a legend, a man whose name is written in golden letters in the history of cinema, a man who made the whole world laugh while hiding his own tears. His name was Sir Charles Spencer Chaplin, but we all know him as Charlie Chaplin. No one, absolutely no one, can match his greatness. His work is timeless, his comedy is universal, and his life is a lesson in perseverance, creativity, and the power of never giving up. Even today, decades after his time, he lives in our hearts. His movies still bring joy, his struggles still inspire, and his story, oh my friends, his story will show you that no matter how hard life gets, you must keep going. This is not just a story. This is a journey of pain, rejection, poverty, success, and immortality. Get ready, because this incredible tale of transformation from a poverty-stricken child to a global icon of cinema will inspire you like never before. In the heart of London on April 16, 1889, Charlie Chaplin was born into a world that would show him little mercy. His parents, Hannah Chaplin and Charles Chaplin Sr., were performers who lived for the stage, entertaining crowds with songs and theatrical acts. But behind the curtain of their public performances lay a darker reality. Charlie's father was consumed by alcoholism, drowning his talents and responsibilities in endless bottles. He soon abandoned his family, leaving Hannah alone to raise Charlie and his older half-brother Sidney. The burden proved almost impossible to bear, and poverty became their constant companion. In their tiny, cold rooms, hunger was a familiar friend. Many nights, young Charlie went to bed with an empty stomach, watching his mother pretend to eat so her children could have a little more food. They moved from one shabby dwelling to another, always one step ahead of being thrown onto the streets. Hannah did her best to keep the family alive through her performances in local theaters. Charlie would watch from backstage, his young eyes filled with wonder. But fate had other plans. During one performance, Hannah's voice failed her completely. The crowd turned hostile, shouting and throwing objects at the stage. In that moment of crisis, 5-year-old Charlie stepped forward, singing and dancing to save the show. The audience's anger turned to delight, and Charlie experienced his first taste of making people laugh. But this brief moment of joy couldn't prevent what was coming. The years of hardship took their toll on Hannah's mind. She began to lose her grip on reality, and eventually she was taken to a mental hospital. Charlie and Sidney, mere children, were left to face the world alone. They became street children, searching through garbage for food, sleeping in doorways, and finally ending up in the dreaded workhouses, institutions where the poor were forced to labor in exchange for basic shelter and meager meals. These dark, oppressive places became young Charlie's world. Separated from his brother, he faced the cruel reality of child labor, surrounded by suffering and despair. But even in these bleakest moments, something inside him refused to be crushed, a spark that would one day light up the whole world. Even in the depths of poverty, young Charlie found his escape through performance. On the gritty streets of London, he discovered his true calling. At first, he would perform for anyone who would watch: passers-by, shopkeepers, even other street children. His face could transform in an instant from tears to laughter, his body moving with a natural grace that caught people's attention. Charlie studied every performer he could find, watching from the shadows of theater doorways, absorbing their techniques, their timing, their way of connecting with audiences. He practiced constantly, using the streets as his stage, perfecting every gesture, every expression, until his performances began drawing crowds. His breakthrough came at 14 when he joined the 8 Lancashire Lads, a professional theater troupe. Though starting in the smallest roles, Charlie's talent couldn't be contained. His ability to capture attention, to make people laugh without speaking a word, set him apart from the other performers. Theater directors began to notice this young performer with the extraordinary gift for physical comedy. His reputation grew, and soon he was landing bigger roles, including a part in the play Sherlock Holmes. Each performance taught him something new about the art of entertainment, about the delicate balance between comedy and emotion that would later become his trademark. Despite his youth, Charlie approached his craft with the dedication of a master. He would spend hours perfecting a single gesture, knowing that in comedy, timing was everything. His natural talent, combined with this relentless drive to improve, began opening doors that would eventually lead him far beyond the streets of London. In 1910, Hollywood beckoned with a life-changing opportunity when Charlie joined Fred Karno's comedy troupe for their American tour. Stepping onto American soil, he found himself in a land where dreams stretched as wide as the horizon. The streets pulsed with possibility, and in the distance, the promise of Hollywood glowed like a beacon. 3 years later, Keystone Studios took notice of the young performer and offered him his first film role. Though the part was small, Charlie saw it as his chance to create something extraordinary. In those early days of silent films, he spent countless hours developing a character that would change cinema forever. One night, in the Keystone dressing room, Charlie pieced together his iconic look. He borrowed an oversized jacket, baggy pants, and a derby hat. He added a small mustache, just large enough to be visible, but not hide his expressions. Then came the walk, those peculiar shuffling steps that would become famous worldwide. The moment he stepped in front of the camera, something magical happened. At first, studio executives didn't understand his creation, but audiences saw something different. They saw a little tramp who, despite his ragged clothes and hard luck, never lost his dignity or his hope. Without speaking a word, Charlie could make people laugh and cry in the same moment. His character touched something universal in the human spirit. As his films began reaching more theaters, Charlie's popularity exploded. His little tramp character became known in every corner of the world. Studios started offering him more money, bigger roles, complete creative control. The poor boy from London had found his place in Hollywood, and he was about to revolutionize the art of cinema forever. By 1917, Charlie Chaplin had transformed from a promising newcomer into the most recognizable face in cinema. But success wasn't enough. He yearned for complete creative freedom. In a bold move that shocked the industry, he established Chaplin Studios in 1918. Becoming his own master and forever changing how films would be made. With this newfound independence, Charlie poured his heart and soul into his first masterpiece, The Kid. Released in 1921, it wasn't just another comedy. It was a deeply personal story that mirrored his own childhood struggles. The tale of a tramp who adopts an abandoned child struck a chord with audiences worldwide. People laughed at the comedic moments, but wept during the emotional scenes. The film proved that Charlie was more than just a comedian. He was a master storyteller. As the 1920s roared on, the film industry underwent a dramatic transformation with the arrival of talkies. While other silent film stars scrambled to adapt, Charlie stood his ground. He believed that true emotion transcended spoken words. Against all advice and industry pressure, he continued making silent films, perfecting his craft with meticulous attention to detail. This dedication culminated in City Lights, released in 1931 when silent films were considered dead. Charlie spent 3 years crafting this story of a tramp who falls in love with a blind flower girl. The final scene, where the girl realizes her benefactor is the poor tramp, became one of cinema's most touching moments. Without a single word of dialogue, Charlie created pure emotional magic. Each film was a testament to his perfectionism. He would shoot scenes hundreds of times until every gesture, every expression was exactly right. His movies cost fortunes to make, but they earned millions. Studios that once paid actors mere dollars per week watched in amazement as Charlie commanded unprecedented creative control and astronomical fees for his work. Behind the bright lights of stardom, Charlie Chaplin's personal life was a tapestry of complex relationships and challenging times. His journey through love proved particularly turbulent, with 3 marriages ending in costly divorces and public scandals. Each failed relationship seemed to chip away at his reputation, leading many to whisper that the man who brought joy to millions couldn't find happiness himself. Everything changed in 1943 when Charlie, then 54, met 18-year-old Una O'Neill. Despite raised eyebrows and public criticism over their age difference, this union proved different from all others. Una became not just his wife, but his anchor, standing steadfast through the storms that would soon engulf their lives. These storms arrived in the form of political persecution during the McCarthy era. Charlie's outspoken views and refusal to conform led to his blacklisting in Hollywood. In 1952, while traveling abroad, he learned he would be denied re-entry to America unless he submitted to humiliating political interrogations. Rather than bend, Charlie chose exile. The couple relocated to Switzerland, settling in a serene villa overlooking Lake Geneva. What could have been a bitter ending became a peaceful new chapter. Here, surrounded by their growing family of 8 children, Charlie found the domestic happiness that had eluded him for so long. Away from Hollywood's demands, he spent his days writing, playing with his children, and taking long walks through his garden. For 25 years, this quiet life in Switzerland gave Charlie something Hollywood never could: peace. Una managed their affairs, protected their privacy, and created the stable home he had never known in his youth. In this tranquil setting, the man who had made the world laugh finally found his own lasting happiness. On Christmas Day, 1977, the world lost its greatest comedian when Charlie Chaplin peacefully passed away at age 88 in his Swiss home. His death marked the end of an era, but his influence on cinema and comedy had already become eternal. Every major filmmaker, every comedian, and every artist who dared to dream big owed a debt to the little tramp who changed entertainment forever. But even in death, Chaplin's story took an unexpected turn. 3 months after his burial, thieves dug up his coffin and stole his body from the cemetery in Corsier-sur-Vevey. The perpetrators demanded $600,000 from his family for its return. Una, showing the same strength that characterized her relationship with Charlie, refused to give in to their demands. After an intensive police investigation, authorities caught the culprits and recovered Chaplin's body. He was reburied in a concrete-reinforced grave to prevent any future attempts. Today, Chaplin's work continues to influence and inspire. His films are studied in universities, celebrated in festivals, and enjoyed by new generations. His physical comedy transcends language barriers. His storytelling touches hearts across cultures, and his messages about humanity remain as relevant as ever. Modern comedians still study his perfect timing and his ability to blend humor with deep emotion. Filmmakers analyze his innovative directing techniques, his masterful use of camera angles, and his revolutionary approach to storytelling. His contributions to cinema weren't just artistic. He helped establish Hollywood as the entertainment capital of the world. The little boy who once went hungry in London's streets created a legacy that continues to feed the imagination of millions. Every silent gesture, every perfectly timed pratfall, every heartfelt story he told lives on, proving that true art never dies. Every time we watch a Charlie Chaplin film today, we witness more than just entertainment. We see the triumph of the human spirit. From the streets of London to the heights of Hollywood, his journey reminds us that our circumstances don't define our destiny. His genius wasn't just in making people laugh, but in showing us that humor can be found even in life's darkest moments. Through his work, Chaplin proved that actions speak louder than words, that comedy can change hearts, and that one person's dedication to their craft can touch millions of lives. His story continues to inspire dreamers, artists, and anyone who dares to believe in themselves despite overwhelming odds. His most powerful legacy isn't just in the films he left behind, but in the timeless message they carry. That laughter is the greatest gift we can give to others, that persistence eventually leads to triumph, and that even in our most difficult moments, we must never lose our ability to smile. As Chaplin himself said, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." Words that ring as true today as they did when he first spoke them.